Warning: the following context may include scary sequences of light horror and many thrills. Some gruesome descriptions involving children may be present in some chapters. Some material may be unsettling to certain audiences. But don't worry, everything will be okay. Probably. Chapter 12. Howl. The cave turns and twists but remains cold and damp. Occasionally bats shriek and fly above us, but ultimately leave us alone. Danny took off his thrower sweater and wrapped it around Tori, who's still wet from the rain. We've managed to keep some phone batteries, so we're using one as a flashlight, but it won't last forever. Does anyone smell that? Connor asks. We all stop, sniffing around in the air. Ew, Martha says. It's like a wet dog, I finish her sentence. I wouldn't mind a puppy right now, Tori says, hugging herself. A puppy would be great, but a different animal? Connor's lips tighten as he closes his eyes. In my mind, I'm doing the same, but I'm too scared to close my eyes. I swear, if there are werewolves here too, I'm going to lose it, Martha says, looking around frantically. I thought you liked werewolves and stuff like that, Connor says. In fantasy books, Connor, Martha swings a hand on her hip. At least I think she does. It's hard to see. Not in real life where they could eat us. What if they're nice? We all jump back at the unfamiliar voice. It's deep yet soft. Connor shines the light in its direction. Who's there? I demand, standing straight. A tall, lengthy boy stands forward. His hair is warm brown, scraggly and wet. Sorry, he says, stepping closer into the light. I was just trying to escape the storm. I didn't mean to scare you, but you do seem to be quite lost. We all glance at each other, deciding if we'll trust him or not. The last person or thing who tried to help us tried to eat us, Martha says, so excuse us if we're a little hesitant. The boy smiles softly and scratches his shoulder violently, similar to a dog. That's funny to you? Connor snaps, taking a step forward. I grab his hand, trying to pull him back. Connor, don't, I whisper. Can't he just be peaceful? We don't need to instigate this guy. No, it's not, the boy says, raising his hands to his head, taking a step back. But what you described is nearly 80% of the creatures who live here, so I'm not surprised. Plus, lost prey is easy prey? He tilts his head to the side, shrugging his shoulders as if he would know from experience. Danny places his hand in front of Tori, pushing her behind him. How about you just tell us how we can get out of this cave, and we'll leave you to whatever you were doing before, he says, in the most firm yet kind way that only Danny can do. Oh, it's fine. I wasn't doing anything important, the boy says, crossing his arms. We could hang out if you wanted. He smiles, and I can't tell if he's about to try to eat us or if he genuinely wants to hang out. Are you a werewolf? Tori asks from behind Danny. Yep, the boy says so normally, as if he had just told us he likes the color blue. Are werewolves nice here? She asks. I too would like to know the answer to that question, but I'm not sure I'd believe it simply because he says he is. Well, not all of them, he answers her. But some of us are, me for one. I look back at Tori and gauge what she's thinking. She looks at me and nods. She is often good at sensing when people are telling the truth. Why are you alone? I ask, looking back at the boy. Where are the other ones? His face turns silently sour. They kicked me out of the pack, he says bluntly. I didn't want to partake in some of their traditions, killing and eating other creatures who have souls, for example, so they banished me. If I ever tried to go back, well, I'd be one of those creatures they'd kill. My face goes cold, and I can tell that everyone else's did too. An awkward silence fills the cave. I try to speak. I'm so sorry, that's terrible. He nods and thanks. I promise, I'm not like them. His voice is slow and disgusted. I can only imagine the things he's seen. The light in the cave gets dimmer and dimmer until it goes completely black. No! Connor struggles, whacking the phone, hoping that'll bring it back to life. Great, Tori says. You don't happen to glow in the dark, do you? I hear the boy's voice chuckle softly. I'm afraid not, though that would be quite the skill to brag about. I do know how to find light, though. Well, ain't any better time than the present, Martha says, sounding sarcastic and slightly annoyed that he hasn't done it yet. She always cracks me up. I'm almost always thinking the same thing as her. She just has the guts to say it. Hang on, he tells us. I'll be right back. Don't move. Wasn't planning on it, Martha responds. Don't want to fall into a chasm or something because I can't see. Oh yeah, you gotta look out for those. They're nasty and a nightmare to try to escape from, the boy says as his voice becomes more and more distant. Wait, what? Martha says, and although I can't see her, I know she's looking around for possible chasms. After nearly 5 minutes, a soft blue glow appears further down the tunnel. A silhouette of what I hope is the boy walks behind it. Is that you, Wolf Boy? Tori calls out. No words are heard, just a piercing howl that rattles off the walls. Tori laughs. She seems to have taken a liking to this boy. Maybe he really is a good one. Her intuition is rarely wrong, minus the poison apples, but I'd say that was more her stomach speaking. Wolf Boy, or whatever his name is, comes near us, holding a bird on his finger. The bird is blue and light purple, and glowing. This is one of the birds from the willow tree. Sometimes they get lost or take shelter here when there's bad weather. He reaches out a delicate finger and pets the chest. Oh my gosh, it's so cute, Tori says. Can I hold it? I think it'd be best not to, Wolf Boy tells her. It's not a pet, it's a wild animal, and you have to have a deep understanding and connection with nature here for it to trust you. So it's that obvious we don't belong here? I ask him, kind of embarrassed. Well, you're human. That alone will give it away. There are no other humans here? Martha exclaims. Like, for real, no humans. How would you know what a human is then? Connor asks, now suspicious. You're not the first humans to come through here, he says. It has been a long time since the last ones, though. I've only ever heard of humans, but you guys are the first to come here in my lifetime. It's quite exciting. I glance at Martha, swallowing hard. And what happened to the other ones? I ask, unsure of if I want to know the answer. Wolf Boy's face turns from excitement to sorrow. I'm not sure, he says reluctantly, but I hear it's not the best. We all look at each other, even more worried than we already were. Was this it? Were we going to be stuck here for all of eternity until we die? There has to be a way out. If there's a way in, there has to be a way to escape. Danny sighs heavily. Can you at least help us get out of this cave? He asks, gesturing with both hands. We'd at least like to not fall into a chasm or something. Are there any safe places here? Maybe somewhere with food? Also, Connor adds, what's your name? Finally, someone got around to asking. I'm Kiri, he says. Sorry, I should have started with that. He perks up, once again scratching violently, only this time it's his ear. There's quite a few places around here with food. The lagoon has fabulous seafood, but of course you have to watch out for the sirens. The dead town has many broken down stores with supplies, but that's if you can make it out with your brain. Most don't. I did, Connor says, his voice flat. However, I'm not fond of the idea of returning. Kiri looks at him impressed. Dang. I didn't think you'd be one capable of surviving that place, but good job. And fair enough. Kiri scrunches his face, thinking of other options. His eyes light up. Oh, yes. The witch's cottage is known to have amazing soups. You just have to hope you catch her on a good day. She's not always a fan of sharing. And there's the occasional cooking of children. My eyes widen and Kiri seems to realize what he just said. So not that place? I say. So not that place, he says, clapping his hands together. Moving on. The circus has very good popcorn and cotton candy, hot dogs and such, but the folks there are known as killer clowns, so they either kill you with their hilarious jokes or quite literally kill you. Once again, there's an awkward pause. By the looks of it, I'd say our options are slim. But there's the willow tree, and they have a beautiful garden, and they share, kindly. Without killing you? Connor asks, unimpressed at this point. Yes, thank God. How terrible would that be? Curie says, laughing as if the rest of the places weren't already trying to kill us. There's also the library. I don't enjoy reading that much, but I hear they have really good teas and baked goods. Well, I vote the library, Martha says, getting excited. Books could help us learn more about this place. Plus, we need food. She turns to look at Curie. They're not going to try to kill us or eat us? He shakes his head. Okay, then. Library? She asks us. Let's do it, Danny and Tori agree. Perfect, Curie says with a big smile. Are any of you claustrophobic? And with that, my stomach drops, because I was already having a tough time staying in this open cave. The underground tunnel was full of sharp turns and tight squeezes that required a single file line. Curie told us to be careful with each step, because there were unstable rocks that could potentially fall at any given minute. Like any normal person, that didn't sound like a good time to me, and I was very fond of the idea of escaping this cave. Just a few more minutes, Curie says, cheery as ever. How does he do that? I ask Martha. Do what? She says back, keeping her eyes on her footing. Stay so positive. We could die at any second by falling to our death. I mean, he has lived here his whole life, she says, reaching out her hands for support after tripping over a large rock. Ouch, that was my toe. I grab her arm and hoist her back to her feet. Could you be more careful? I say, more snappy than I meant to. I can't have any more close calls. I'm fine, she tells me, brushing herself off. I'm sure the only thing that could surprise him is a peaceful community. True, Connor says from behind us. I didn't know he was listening. Do you think he's trustworthy? I ask Connor, who seems to be the other suspicious one here. Connor takes his time with his answer. I don't not trust him, but I'd like some proof that he's not leading us to a trap to cook us for dinner. And with that, I feel even more unsettled than before. Should have just kept the question to myself. Chapter 13. The Library. Tune in tomorrow.